Two e-bikes can have the same battery, the same advertised power, and almost the same price, but feel completely different once you actually start riding. One motor can climb hills like they're nothing. The other can be cheaper, quieter, and far less expensive when something breaks. And here's what most buyers don't realize. The motor with the better reputation isn't necessarily the one you should buy. We're putting mid-drive and hub motors through 10 real-world tests: speed, hills, breakdowns, repair costs, range, handling, price, and durability. Stay until number 1, because that's where one of these motors becomes the obvious winner for most people. Let's start with number 10, the one that feels faster. Two e-bikes can have the exact same wattage on the spec sheet and still feel completely different when you accelerate. A mid-drive motor sends its power through the bicycle's own gears, so it can use lower gearing to build torque quickly off the line, the same mechanical trick your legs already use when you shift down before a stoplight. A hub motor drives the wheel directly, so changing the bicycle's gears doesn't multiply the motor's torque the way it does on a mid-drive. That difference is most obvious from a dead stop or when you're weaving through stop-and-go traffic. Don't get trapped comparing wattage alone, motor placement, and gearing change how the power actually feels underneath you, even when the number on the spec sheet is identical. But raw speed isn't where the real difference between these two motors starts to show. Number 9, the hill test changes everything. This is one of the first clear wins for mid-drive, and it comes down to the same gearing advantage from the last category. Because a mid-drive routes power through the bicycle's gears, it can shift into a lower gear on a steep climb, the same way your legs would, using the mechanical advantage of gearing instead of just brute motor force. Drop into a low gear on a steep grade, and the motor is effectively multiplying its own torque through the same mechanism your bicycle already had. A typical hub motor doesn't get that advantage. It's pushing the wheel directly no matter how steep the hill gets, which means it has to work harder, draw more current, and generate more heat just to maintain the same climbing speed. Live somewhere flat? You might barely notice this. Live somewhere hilly, with real grades on your regular route, and you'll feel this difference on nearly every single ride, not just the occasional steep driveway. Number 8, one of them is much easier to ride home. Here's a category most buyers never think to ask about until it happens to them. If a hub motor system stops assisting mid-ride, the bicycle's normal chain and gears are still fully separate and can generally keep working on their own, so you're pedaling a heavier bicycle than usual, but you're still riding home under your own power. A mid-drive is tied directly into the bicycle's drivetrain. You can usually still pedal home after an electrical failure, but if the failure involves the chain ring, or drivetrain itself, you may be completely stuck. This isn't a reason to rule out mid-drive entirely. Failures of any kind are relatively uncommon on a well-maintained e-bike. But if you regularly ride far from home or somewhere with no cell signal, it's worth actually thinking through before you buy, not after you're stranded. And getting stranded isn't the only repair problem worth thinking about before you buy. Number 7, the repair bill nobody thinks about. Cost of ownership rarely makes it onto a spec sheet, but it matters just as much as anything that does. Mid-drive systems are more mechanically integrated, which generally makes them more complex and more expensive to service when something goes wrong. A motor sitting inside the drivetrain often means more labor time just to access the part that actually failed. Hub motors are comparatively self-contained, so a motor problem usually stays separate from the bicycle's chain, cassette, and crank drivetrain. To be fair to hub motors, one real downside here: pulling a powered wheel off the bicycle can itself be a more involved job than removing a normal wheel, since you're also disconnecting motor cabling in the process. It's not completely one-sided, but if simplicity and easier maintenance matter to you, the hub motor has a real advantage. Number 6, one motor eats chains for breakfast. This is one of the most useful things an ordinary buyer probably has no idea about. A mid-drive motor's torque runs through your actual chain, cassette, and derailleur, the same components your legs use. Under a high-powered system, poor shifting habits, or heavy daily use, that can mean noticeably faster drivetrain wear than a regular bicycle would see, especially if you're the type of rider who shifts under full power instead of easing off first. A hub motor sends its own power directly to the wheel instead, so the motor isn't adding its torque to your chain and cassette. If you do end up with a mid-drive, the simple fix is just riding habit. Ease off the pedal pressure for a moment before you shift, the same way you would on any bicycle with gears, and your chain and cassette will last considerably longer. Number 5. The range winner isn't that simple. You'd expect a clean winner here. There isn't one. A mid-drive can run more efficiently across varying speeds and hills because it gets to lean on the bicycle's own gearing the same way it does for climbing. But that doesn't automatically mean every mid-drive gets better range. Battery capacity, motor tuning, terrain, your speed, your weight, your tires, and your assist level all matter just as much as which motor you have. On demanding, hilly terrain, the mid-drive's gearing advantage genuinely shows up in your range. On an easy, flat commute, the difference is often much smaller than you'd expect. But range isn't the actual reason expensive e-bikes keep putting the motor in the middle of the frame. Number 4, this is why expensive e-bikes feel different. This one comes down to physics you can actually feel, not just read about. A mid-drive motor keeps its mass low and centered on the bicycle, close to where your own body weight already sits when you're pedaling. A hub motor puts that same mass out at one wheel instead, usually the rear, sometimes the front, meaning the bicycle's weight is no longer balanced the way a normal bicycle's is. You notice it most when cornering or riding rough terrain. With the motor low and centered, a mid-drive generally feels more balanced and easier to control. A hub motor adds weight directly to one wheel, which can make the bicycle feel more rear-heavy or front-heavy on a front hub design. Mid-drive takes this category. Number 3, the $1,000 question. Now let's talk about what all of this actually costs you. Hub motor e-bikes dominate the affordable end of the market for a simple reason. They're relatively straightforward and inexpensive to manufacture. Mid-drive systems usually sit further upmarket, sometimes hundreds or even thousands of dollars higher. The real question isn't which motor is better in the abstract. It's whether you're actually getting hundreds or even thousands of dollars more bicycle for that price difference, or paying extra for an advantage your actual commute will never use. A flat city commuter riding 5 miles to work is paying for hill climbing performance they may never need. A rider hauling cargo up a mountain trail every weekend is getting real value for that same premium. Number 2, which motor actually lasts longer? This one doesn't have a simple lasts a certain number of years answer, because the honest answer depends on more than just which architecture you picked. A hub motor has relatively little interaction with your everyday drivetrain, which tends to work in its favor over time. A mid-drive routes its power straight through drivetrain parts that already wear down on any bicycle. But build quality, sealing against water and dirt, how well you maintain it, the conditions you ride in, and how good the manufacturer's support actually is, can all matter more than which basic layout you chose in the first place. So after speed, hills, breakdowns, repairs, range, handling, and durability, which one should you actually spend your money on? Number 1, the one actually worth buying. Here's where we finally answer the title. The honest conclusion isn't mid-drive wins. For most everyday buyers, a good hub motor e-bike is genuinely the better value. It's cheaper, mechanically simpler, delivers plenty of power for commuting and casual riding, puts far less stress on your drivetrain, and gives you a much easier value proposition overall. And if something ever does go wrong, it's usually a simpler, cheaper fix. But mid-drive has its own clear territory, and it's not a small one. If you regularly climb steep hills, ride serious trails, carry heavy loads, or genuinely care about natural handling and performance more than the price tag, mid-drive is worth paying for. That's not a small niche of riders. It's exactly the kind of demanding riding where a mid-drive starts earning its higher price. So if you're a demanding rider, we'd take the mid-drive. For almost everyone else, we'd save the money and buy the hub motor. Don't pay for a motor you don't need. The mistake isn't choosing a hub motor or choosing a mid-drive. It's paying hundreds more for an advantage you'll never actually use, or saving money on a motor that can't handle the riding you actually do. For most riders, we'd take the hub motor. For demanding riders, we'd pay extra for the mid-drive. Which one would you choose? Let me know in the comments.